you a real footballer? Liverpool Football Club. Boom. A night I will never forget in my life.
I had to hold the tears back at certain points.
It's been an amazing journey so far, and hopefully I'm here for a lot longer to see it get even better.
I don't think we'll see a goal like it again.
Ibrahima Konate is a Liverpool player. We know now that Liverpool will not be involved in the European Super League. Hey, we forgot that had a little bit on the end of it. Welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the Uncensored match build-up show. We are back for a brand new season. Liverpool playing football, and there's going to be fans in the ground, and everything's fine, and we've got centre halves, and great. And I've got people in the studio with me as well. I'm Paul Machin. I'm joined by John Machin and by Sam Walker as well for this one. Gents. Ooh, yes. Sam, I'll start with you. How's the optimism? You've struggled a little bit this summer, mate.
Yeah. Do you know what, Woody? Yeah, this is kind of like it now. I don't know where I've been with it all. It feels like a bit of a weird.
You've been
dream.
in a dark place.
It's been in a dark place. So the fact that we're here in the studio speaking to you and John, and it's just talking about the game and cricket like we do at times. You know, it's just fun, and it's starting to become real now. We were talking about tomorrow's kickoff, and it's like, oh, actually, this is football. Like last year we had football, so this is football, and Liverpool do proper football. We don't do lockdown football, really. So I'm excited just to see it all start to become normal again.
I know, but that's it, isn't it? Isn't it that it feels like exactly that? We were saying the season starts tomorrow. It's real, and but it is actually real. It's not this mad version that we had last year where you're just so removed and detached. You know, I got me little appetite wetter at the weekend in the pre-season games, you know, and of being in the ground. I know we're another week away from being back at Anfield, but it actually just feels properly tangible, because it is tangible this time around.
Yeah, it feels like a new beginning to me. I mean, last season, I've sort of written it off in my mind. I don't think of it as a season. No. I think of it as a little nightmare in between us winning things. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, this is a great side with a great manager, and we've lost a year.
Yeah.
So I think, I just have this sense that we're going to make up for that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And that's the thing where there's a degree to which, and we'll talk a bit about the selection later on and what have you, Dad, but the fact that like Virgil and Gomez are back in contention, it feels almost exactly like you could just chop last season away, because we're still in the Champions League. All of the players who we had, with the exception obviously of Wijnaldum and whatever, are there. It does feel like, yes, everyone's a year older, but it's not. It could be tons worse.
Yeah, I mean, I had this flash in one of the pre-season games when Williams and Tsimikas sort of didn't quite get it right, and we conceded a goal. And I had a flashback to last season, you know, when we had defenders who didn't know each other playing every week. Yeah. And I suddenly had that flashback, and then I thought, no, but, you know, we've now got more or less everyone ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, sadly, we've lost Robbo for a few games. And, you know, you'd have to be a little bit careful about Virgil and Gomez, I think. But they're there, they're training, they've started playing pre-season. You know, everyone's had a really good pre-season camp. You know, I'm so excited for that, for all that.
No, it was the moments. You talk about the defensive stuff, but it was in the fixtures of the day when Gomez is playing centre half, and they were pinging balls behind him, and I had flashbacks to all of last season when that was our biggest weakness. We were just kicking it behind our defence, and I was having no pace. And then Gomez just turned round and just casually accelerated past whoever he was challenging and gathered. And I was like, oh God, yeah, this isn't last season. We're not going to necessarily have Gomez and Van Dijk up to speed, but we're likely to have them at some point before too long.
Yeah, and let's be honest, you know, the conversations we were having 2-3 weeks ago, we probably didn't even think we'd see as much of those two as we actually have. It's kind of accelerated quite quickly, hasn't it? 100%. And even Konate comes into that question as well. Yeah. The ball goes through and he's just marauding back towards goal, saying, calm down, and he gets it, dribbles past the 2 or 3 players and plays a nice pass. But that's the standard we're used to, aren't we? Matip does that all the time. Gomez and Van Dijk are on another planet with their pace. And I just think it changes the confidence in our team. You can see the crowd. Like that ball goes, there's not a big gasp of air in the crowd. Everyone's just aware of what we're about and how we deal with these situations. And it all just for me equals to calm. Yeah. And I think, you know, starting hopefully this weekend, we'll be interested to see who does play and who does come on as well, actually, to see how that sort of pans out for the weeks following. But for me, I'm ready to sort of fall in love again with football. Not just Liverpool. I've always loved Liverpool, but to fall in love with football and even enjoy other games, which I haven't done.
There's definitely great. I find this I find general sport better because of fans being in there. Like I know a lot of people love the Olympics, and it is what it is. It didn't vibe with me because I like being told. I like feeling the story, and the audience gives you the story of what it is you're seeing. That's that energy, that passion. You can passively watch things with a crowd better, and that's the point. You say watching football in general, it's going to be on the telly. I'm still going to watch other teams on the telly, same as last year. But having the audience back makes a big difference. And the thing that's I think is really sort of encouraging, and I just stick with you on this, Sam, because again, to go from the summer dark place referring to transfers, do you think the fact that we basically put out 2 pretty strong teams and on 2 different days, 2 completely different 11s, made you feel more generally relaxed about where Liverpool are at squad wise?
I think the issue is that we in pre-season, because of the international tournaments, you never really see the full extent of your squad until about now. I'm right in saying that. Usually the last game at Anfield, we have a big welcome to all the fans back. So it's a sort of a rude awakening to those who have been hating. And yeah, we all probably think there's 1 or 2 things we could do maybe. But when you put it down on paper and you see some of the players we've got and how sharp and fit they look, i.e. the likes of Oxlade-Chamberlain and Keita, who are going to give Klopp headaches this weekend, then you do actually realise the depth of quality that we've got. Yeah. I think a lot of us, and as a fan base, are just a bit scarred from last year. And I think that's fine, because that's what we're supposed to be as fans. So seeing those 2 teams, and actually, I thought the second game would be more difficult than the first game, but it turned out the opposite way around. We absolutely hammered Osasuna, really. Could have scored 6 or 7. So I think it just showed the quality, and seeing some of these young players like Kate Gordon and Elliott and even Curtis Jones play the way they do, with the confidence they do, it does show you how bulked up our squad is when everybody's available.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's. I agree with Sam's point there, Dad. I think we'd all be we'd be happy with 1 or 2 more additions, without a doubt. I think the reality is, I think seeing the strength of Liverpool's squad, but also I think seeing the shitstorm at Barcelona has probably made everyone feel a bit more relaxed, generally speaking, about it, because Barcelona are a perfect example of what happens when you just unchecked spend money that you don't have. But also, as I said to our point earlier, the squad will contend regardless.
Yeah, Barcelona aren't owned by a country. That's their problem.
Yes, and it's our problem too.
Well, it's a problem for us in that the fans look at City and Chelsea spending 100 million on players, and they're thinking, come on, compete.
Yeah.
And they think we have to compete in the same way. Yeah. And we're not built like that, sadly, Yeah. And to be honest, I'd rather we were like we are than we were owned by Saudi Arabia, And I think I'm much more comfortable with what we've got. And, no owners are going to be perfect because obviously they're all businessmen and entrepreneurs and they're all probably bastards.
Because you don't become a billionaire by being a lovely human being.
But, apart from that, we've got a good squad, and we've invested probably a year late in a centre-back, but we've done it. Yeah. And we've got younger people coming through, like Curtis Jones. We've got the likes of Ox, who, if he actually gets back to his best form, will add immeasurably to that side. We've got Cater, if they can actually get him firing, when he's actually on form, he's a terrific player. Yeah. But of course, there's a big question mark over both of them, and I understand that. So that's why people are, they really want us to bring in players to replace those.
I'm feeling generally quite relaxed about the whole thing because I think the next 3 weeks or 2 and a bit weeks or whatever until the transfer window shuts is going to be mayhem, and not in a good way. Because we're seeing it now, there's rumours that we're going to accept a lower bid than we want for Xherdan Shaqiri because I think they just want to get him moved on. I think he wants to move on and Liverpool want to facilitate that. The point is, I think when he moves, I think I'm right in saying that actually does then, I think that would leave us with a slot open, I think, in terms of being able to register a non-homegrown
Klopp
player.
Has said that he can't buy until some people move on, which is a really big hint. Yeah. That we need Shaqiri to move on, and maybe a couple of others.
And look, as you look around Europe at the minute, there's talk that PSG need to ship 10. Man City need to do a similar sort of thing. Barcelona are looking to do this. The teams that have gone and done what needed, Man United the same. The teams that have gone and done the business first need to now go and get that, and that's not going to sort them out. But of course, when you for some teams who are mega rich, who's asked? Yeah. Like Chelsea have been taking bats on 50 million players for 15 years, 20 years. Like if it doesn't work out, who's asked? We'll go and get another one. We've never been able to do that, and I would like to see us, before it becomes a fire sale. It would be nice if Liverpool could actually, get done what needs to be done. And I think I'm feeling reasonably relaxed about the whole thing because I think even if we didn't make another signing, I don't see how Grealish and or Kane is not going to make City. They can't get more points than they got when we were challenging them. Like maybe one more point or 2 more points.
What they've done is they've sort of ensured that they stay at that level.
Yeah,
they've not improved because it's almost impossible to improve what they've got. You can't improve on Aguero, can you? For God's sake. No. And David Silva, David Villa.
Oh, so Silva, yeah.
David Silva, yeah. No. So, what they're doing is they're just making sure they stay at that level and they keep the pace.
Yeah.
And our problem, of course, is that we're not able to just do that.
Yeah.
We have to be a bit more circumspect and we have to manage things a lot better.
And as you say, there's nothing wrong with dreaming and hoping that Liverpool could be in a situation where you've got somebody who can just spend bottoms. Because it's like we always say, I would. If I was a Liverpool owner and I had that kind of money, I wouldn't be asked. I'd be spending money at Liverpool. I wouldn't be asked if it made me money or not. I'd be throwing money at it. That's the dream, to have someone like that, but who's not an arsehole. And by the way, that doesn't include me because I am. Like, you know what I mean? So I'd be a dickhead too if I was.
I said the other day, I think of Thiago and Jota as new signings. I don't really feel as though they've been part of the club.
And I think that I wonder whether there's a difference in split because there's people who only ever consume Liverpool via the laptops and via the tellies and all that. And you're right, for most people, and that's probably the vast majority of people who support Liverpool because of the nature of the size of the fan base. So that's fine, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you go to the games. And this is the one limited difference, major difference in this, is you're right, that detachment from what we've just seen this last year. I mean, Jota got to score in front of Liverpool fans, at the weekend. Like for 40, the most Liverpool fans he's ever scored in front of, and he did it after being a Liverpool player for a year.
You've got 4 lads there: Tsimikas, Konate, Jota and Thiago, who have never played a competitive game in front of a crowd at Anfield. Yeah. So if we're sitting here...
Proper crowd anyway.
Yeah, competitive. 10K
at the end of the season.
Full crowd, full of atmosphere, the build-up. Now, if we're saying football the last year was just, like almost like World War II football, where it didn't really count. It's totally different to everything else. Obviously, other clubs might not agree with that, but that's our standpoint. We've got 4 players there who are coming into a 99-point team, which is I still think we are. We've got 4 players coming into that, And that's not taking into account anything that does happen in the next 3 weeks. So we do have a better squad. The idea we didn't improve last season was stupid. Yeah. We did. We brought in 2 brilliant players, 3 good players.
We finished third with the 6th and 7th choice centre halves.
Exactly.
It's insane, and
that might be our major centre mid playing centre back most of the time.
Well, no, exactly, and that's the one thing about me is I don't know, and no one knows, by the way. So this can be taken one way or the other. How good Liverpool are, because we haven't seen the best Liverpool in over a year, and that's because last season our best 11. In fact, for me, just to talk this through, best 11 for me is Alisson, Trent Robbo, fullbacks, Van Dijk, let's say Gomez, or Matip, whichever you want. Take your pick. Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, and then the front 3, the old school front 3 with Firmino in there. That is our best 11 until proven otherwise. They did not play a single minute of football together last year.
No.
So I've got no idea how good we can be because our best team didn't get to
What we
get on the
don't
pitch.
know is, has this great side aged?
Yeah.
Or have they started to dip down the other side? And if they are dipping down the other side, is Thiago and Jota enough to keep them back up there?
That,
And we don't know that, and we won't know that till they start playing. Yeah. But I mean, I'm fairly hopeful when I looked at them, certainly when I looked at the last couple of pre-season games, that the likes of Bobby Firmino I've still got a great amount to contribute to what us going forward.
The last 10 games of the season is the closest barometer I think we've got for what this is going to be like. And we still played that with Nat Phillips, and Nat Phillips occasion, a bit of Kabak and Williams at centre-half for us there, and no Jordan Henderson. And no Jota for a lot of that as well in the back end of the season. So, and Firmino came good, and Mane came good at the back end, and Salah continued to be Salah. So I think we'll be largely fine. Right, we had a super chat from Ashley Frith. He says, welcome back, boys. Missed the season. Come on, the Reds. Do you think we're signing Doku? No idea, mate. Genuinely no idea. I'll be talking to Neil Jones on Thursday lunchtime about 1 o'clock. I'm live here on the YouTube channel. I will ask him about Jeremy Doku and see if there's any updates on that, so stay tuned for that. Right, we're going to be talking about what Jürgen does and the selection headaches. Who's going to be in the midfield three? Who is going to be the centre-back pairing? Who is going to start up front? Some massive, brilliant, interesting questions. We have got a very short break between now and then, though. We've got a trivia question before we go. First trivia question of the season. 3 Spanish former Liverpool Academy players have also played for Norwich City. Name them. See you in a sec. Everyone, I want to say massive thanks to Ultimate Fan, our brand new sponsor for a brand new season. It's fantasy football meets pack openings. You've got an opportunity to play for free. You unlock packs, get players, and build your own fantasy Premier squads using those players that you collect along the way. Really interesting approach, fascinating. And I'm going to open my base set of packs that come completely free with a completely free account when you start right now. 10 free cards to kick it off, and I've got these guys right here. Johnson, Ben, never heard of him, that's fine. I'm sure he's a lovely person. Gilbert, Todd Cantwell, heard of him, and he's a silver, and it says there are silver UF cards. I like it to perform well for you, good to know. Stuart Armstrong, yeah. Mr. Webster, yeah, not Jamie. El Ghazi, yeah, recognise him. He celebrated at scoring against kids. Yarmolenko. Jamie Vardy is a gold player. That's pretty good. Yeah, I can get behind that. He's going to be surely he's going to be a fantasy superstar again. And then I've got Everton. Could be better, let's be honest. But it's Rafa. We've got Agent Rafa there. Maybe things will go well for us. There's some explanations here in terms of what it's all about. So every player gets a unique serial number, which is registered on the blockchain, which means you officially own the cards that you get, which is cool. And then what you do is, having unpacked your pack, you put them into your team, and then you earn fantasy points from them. As simple as what I'm going to do right now. Obviously, Vardy goes in there without a shadow of a doubt. Cantwell goes in there. Yeah, cool with that. Let's put El Ghazi in there. Webster. Yeah. Let's do Armstrong for now. Maybe we can do better than this. We're going to put... Let's see what else we've got. Johnson? Yeah. Yarmolenko can't go in there. Yarmolenko can go in there. We can put anyone in that middle slot. That's fine. Are we going to pick... Let's pick... I'm going the Ev. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, there's the scoring anyway. You get 10 points for the goal, 4 for an assist, 2 for the shot on target, 1 for tackle won, 3 defenders get a clean sheet, wins are 5 points, and you can see there, earn points based on real life performance. And then you get added up, and you can see how your squad's performing as the season goes on as well. It's easy for me to say. And then there's going to be a leaderboard, and basically when you get higher up the leaderboard, you're more likely to win good stuff. There's also a Ultimate Fan Plus subscription, where if you get gold or silver, where you can be guaranteed gold and silver players in your packs. There's a whole host of bonus features available for you as well, which I'll talk about in a moment. So here you can see your home screen, and one thing to note, on the first week, there's £15,000 worth of prizes up for grabs, and if you're a gold subscriber, you get a free Beer 52 pack as well. So yeah, there's a decent little incentive to upgrade, but yeah, you get your base pack, you kick off, you look through your players, you see what they're like, you put them in your team, and then you prove that you're amazing, not just in terms of luck, but also in terms of skill of constructing that side. It's as simple as that. If you want to play along, then you can do. Use the link in the description underneath. Get involved. And see if you can do better than us. Screenshot your teams, send them to @TheRedmenTV on Twitter as well. And yeah, have you got a better side than us? Have you packed better than me? And then let us know your points and see if you can beat me and Chris throughout this season. It's going to be very fun. Get involved with Ultimate Fan. Link in the description underneath. And yeah, see if you can beat me and Chris. Shouldn't be too hard. Hey, yes, welcome back to the build-up. Yeah, that was a slightly lengthier advert than normal because it is a brand new sponsor, and we wanted to make sure we explain the game because, and you got to watch me learn how to do it live. There you go. That was good fun, but I'm really looking forward to playing Ultimate Fan this season. If you played along on Redmen Picks last year, it's actually run by the same people, so your account, if you don't have to create a new account, if you've already got a Redmen Picks account, you can just log into the app using your same details. It's completely free to play. You can enter into that prize pool as well, but again, if you want to add the subscription thing on top and get guarantee more goal players, etc., then you can do that. But it is, as I say, completely free to play. I'm going to be doing it all this season, so get involved. It's really, really good fun. I was just talking to the lads through it then. So yeah, get involved. Ultimate Fan. The link is pinned in the live comments. It's in the description underneath. Get involved. Right. Yes. The footy. Dad Jürgen has got a major selection headache, but the good kind.
You're not going to tell us who the
I do this
trivia quiz
every time.
Was? No.
Thanks, mate.
Because I got one right, didn't I? That's why I want you to tell.
You got them all right. So the question, thank you, before the break, I know it's been a while. 3 Spanish former Liverpool Academy players also play for Norwich. Name them.
So this is
Sergio Canos was the one.
Yeah.
Sergio Canos.
Pacheco.
Danny Pacheco.
And was it Ayala?
Daniel Ayala.
Yeah,
well done.
Well done, John. Good teamwork.
Well done. Fantastic play. If you got all that, give yourselves a massive pat on the back. It bodes well for the new season, I think. That's all I'll say.
What, that we got rid of all our Spanish players?
yeah. None of them were good enough to play for us. Sergio Canos might come back and haunt us this season. I'll try and refrain from that. Right, yes, sound. Selection headaches, Dad. We've got four centre halves to choose from. We've got like 7 centre mids to choose from.
4 injury prone centre halves. No, 3 injury prone centre halves and a new lad.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's his biggest problem because he's going to have to take his lead from the medics and the science people on whether Van Dijk and Gomez are ready.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that they would be myself. But when he played 70 minutes, Van Dijk, and he looked okay. He didn't look like the best centre back in the world, which is what he is when he's properly moving. So I don't know. I wouldn't surprise me if they played Matip and Konate. To be honest,
I think we've been gearing up towards that, but equally, they haven't played together now for a bit. We've seen them split. So we've seen Matip and Van Dijk playing. We've seen Gomez and Konate have been the ones playing alongside each other. Matip looks like Joel Matip. He looks perfect. And I think there's definitely a mindset that's like, it's Joel Matip, so he's going to have some spell on the sidelines.
Well, you've got to play him early while he's fit.
Exactly. Exactly that.
I think it's Matip +1, which is bizarre, isn't it? Because it's always been Van Dijk +1.
Yeah.
I don't think Gomez starts. I think we'll probably bring him back in with a combination of maybe some centre half minutes and even just to cover Trent for 10 minutes at the end, right back. Probably got more chance of that if we're winning games.
Klopp said you don't want to change your centre backs in mid game.
Okay.
Because it's obviously very disruptive. And that, I don't know whether that was just a throwaway remark off the top of his head.
I suppose it depends on the score, doesn't it?
Well, I think you've got to start giving Van Dijk some time on the pitch, haven't you? You know,
but if there's a game to play Van Dijk, when you look at the sort of next few, Burnley and Chelsea, you know, baptism of fire, Chelsea with their quick forwards, or Burnley, which could be an absolute fight.
Yeah.
Or do you say, well, actually, if he is ready, by the medical team say he's good to go, then do you say, well, Norwich is probably a game where we should be a stronger side, we should have more of the ball, so it's an opportunity for him to sort of come in and play. But if I had to put my money on it, I'd personally go with Matip and Konate. It just makes sense.
Well, there's Josh Hunter's just sent a super chat in. He says, with the talk being that Konate and Matip are starting the season, any insight to why Klopp has been starting Konate with Gomez, which seems a bit illogical. And I think the problem is we've got a double-edged sword here, which some lads need minutes. So they need to get as much minutes. And obviously, particularly Gomez and Van Dijk need to play because they need to get back to their level again. Konate's new, so he needs to develop relationships. You need to develop your starting partnership relationship for the season, but also Van Dijk's not going to play 50 games this season. We're going to have to rotate the centre half. So Konate, it'd be nice if he'd played with everyone, and he did play with Matip a lot early on, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have been able to play with Gomez, you know, before, because he wasn't fit.
Yeah.
So, but he will play with Gomez a little bit down the line. So when does he get to play with him if not in pre-season? And of course, they're probably the future centre-back pair for Liverpool, if the truth be known.
Well, and that's interesting to be right. And the Gomez left-sided centre-half, I've said this for a couple of years now, is that I think he's been bred to be Van Dijk's understudy there. I think he does the covering centre-half thing really well. You know, the on-show, the bits and pieces, the tackles, doing all the running. But I think he's got the elements there to do a Van Dijk thing. He's range of passing, he's done it a few times in pre-season as well, which is interesting. So no, this is the point. Very, very interesting to see how we go. And to the point, I guess the point you've made already to some extent, I'm looking at Chelsea and going, I want Van Dijk ready for Chelsea. But how do you get Van Dijk ready for Chelsea if he doesn't play Norwich and Burnley?
Unless he, the thing with Burnley is at Anfield, and that could help a lot because Norwich are a bit of a footballing team. So if you were going to gamble on who's going to have the most possession, Norwich and Burnley, Norwich away or Burnley at Anfield, you'd probably actually, sort of backtracking on my point, actually you probably would say Norwich, wouldn't you? The way they play, they like to move the ball around. Whereas Burnley, you know what it's going to be. It's route one. It's big headers. It's second balls. So, it's interesting to see what Klopp does. I think one of those games Van Dijk's got to start. I think he has to.
I think Burnley, Matip and Van Dijk would be perfect for the way Burnley play.
Yeah. Well, Konate's a big lad, so he looks strong as well.
And he also, if you want to break down their defence, having those two lads at corners, would be great.
Yeah.
But I mean, how brilliant is it that we're talking about, should we have Matip and Konate? Or should we have Van Dijk or Gomez? I mean, how lovely after last season, And
it's like this point about where I was making this about Keita the other day about how we're in a position where our squad's that good that there's lads who are worth £50 million. We don't need them to be our best players every game. Because that's not the case. That wasn't the case 10 years ago. If you bought someone for big money, they had to be the guy who dragged you to wins. They had to be essential to your side. And that's the point. We've spent £36 million on Konate, which, that 2 years ago, well, just over 2 years ago, that would have been our transfer record.
Yeah.
And we might not start him this season. He might be 5 games before he even gets a look in. He might not get a look into the League Cup. Or, you know what I mean? It could, potentially. Or we could start him and we'll be absolutely sound for it.
Certainly unlikely to play the bulk of games this season if Gomez and Van Dijk actually, complete their recovery. Mm-hmm. So, but
it could be, we could be looking at it because again, look at how we've used them. We could find that Gomez and Van Dijk, we just rotate them. Like they're now. Let's just say they're now the left-sided centre halves. I'm just hypothesising. I'm not sure this is the case because we have seen that. And Matip, because Van Dijk, you need to protect Van Dijk because he's the best player in the world.
And you've got to protect Matip because he's Matip. And then also you've got Gomez, and say Konate and Gomez are going to be, in 3 years' time, they're probably going to be starting more games than they're not. So is this the start of that process? Yeah, getting loads of questions.
And again, a lot of it is down to the medics and the science and all the rest of it about how you actually get Gomez and Van Dijk back to their best as quickly as possible. Yeah. I mean, I've said it loads of times. I don't think we'll see them at their best until like Christmas. actually the way, their top game, best centre-back in the world, plus the best English centre-back.
Yeah.
It might be a long time before we see that. And I'm hoping that they defy that and they're actually brilliant almost immediately.
Yeah.
But I think that's expecting.
Well, you said this about Van Dijk. It's like, you've got to get back to that, and you've got to test yourself, and you've got to get your mind right. He's got to, and it's also, and I thought the really interesting point you made on the commentary the other day is like, it's the recovery time, which we're not privy to. Van Dijk can go out there and put a worldie in, but it might take him a week to recover.
Yeah. Well, he might come off and have a swollen knee. Yeah. And then he's got to wait till that subsides before he can train again and all. And you don't know any of that. All you see is the guy on the pitch.
Yeah.
It's why when Gomez came back after his really bad injury, and he played alternately at right back with Trent, and he was terrible, and the crowd got onto his back, but the crowd knew nothing about what his recovery was like.
Yeah.
They just see a guy on the pitch who's not playing as well as they want.
And there'll always be that, unfortunately. Again, I've seen people doing this thing about, like, there seems to be this mad, like, negativity towards Curtis Jones from some people, and some of it's not necessarily direct negativity, but it's almost like in comparison to others, and it's like because some people, I don't know what people see things in weird ways.
His name's
sometimes.
not Bernardo or Franco or something. That's what it is. His name's Curtis, and he's from Liverpool.
Well, they forget that he's just out the academy, don't they?
Yeah.
He's not like a seasoned, centre mid.
No, I think he's terrific. Real shame that he's going to be missing for this one. But James Cabs asks the question via Super Chat: who do you think will be the attacking midfielder this season, with Fabinho, Henderson and Thiago all being holding midfielders naturally? See, I mean, not to Paul James's comment apart, I disagree. Like, Fabinho, yes. I know Henderson's a brilliant DM. I know Thiago can do it, but I didn't think he was particularly impressive this last season doing it. Thiago is a centre mid to me, and Henderson is an attacking midfielder. He's box to box. He does his best work in the final third.
His only problem is he doesn't score enough goals as an attacking mid.
Yeah.
But he is really, really good in that role, in every other respect.
His natural game is forwards.
Yeah, and if we play those three as a staple, then he's the attacking mid every time.
I think though, the way the attacking mid gets caught up in it, because we all sort of envision this 4-2-3-1 with a number 10, and that's what is seen as the attacking mid. But we've never really, we tried it with Shaq, didn't we, a few times? We've never really been that side unless it's sort of break glass. And I think, the answer to that question could be Roberto Firmino. Yeah. In terms of someone who sits and plays the whole, but we someone said it the other day, Trent Alexander-Arnold's one of our most important forward players. He's the guy who pulls strings from right inside midfield or right back, wherever he plays these days. Thiago is unbelievable. He came on the other day and was just impeccable. Yeah. Henderson came on and looked like he just knew the game inside out. These guys are world class at what they do.
It's like charity matches when like world class players drop it. You have like soccer aid and actual players playing them, and that's what it was like when Henderson and Thiago came on the pitch. It's like, here's the ball, bang, have it back, no problem. All right, I've got this, no problem.
Chip, outside the boot, it's unbelievable. It's like Ronaldinho playing in the soccer aid, didn't he, with his like 20 stone extra, and he still absolutely runs it. That's what it was like. It was just levels above.
Yeah. The two obviously biggest things here, I will lead into the midfield chat from there, really. I've got to do the starting 11 prediction because Chris is still on holiday. I think it will be Fabinho, even though it's still early doors for him in terms of pre-season. I think it will be Keita because I think he's been sound, and I think it will be Ox. But I think a few people will go, oh, no, it's got to be Elliott. But I think there's a. I have no idea. What you do.
I've thought all the way through watching pre-season that he was going to start with the guys who got the most time early on, which is Milner,
Keita
and Elliott. But given what Ox did recently, I think there's a big shout for him to play that attacking role.
And that's my thinking on that.
And not Harvey Elliott.
It's just the Milner thing is that I don't know whether Milner's playing DM because we had no one else to do it, because Henderson and Fabinho weren't there, and we literally have no one else who can do that job, and Thiago as well to that point. Is he a holding pattern for a midfield signing who can do a bit of centre mid and a bit of DM? That's the Genie replacement. Yeah. Or are we doing to Milner what we did in Lallana's season when we won the league, where he's third choice DM, but we might only see him there for 2 or 3 games in the entire season?
I think Milner is massively a facilitator. He's played those positions exactly the same because there was no one there. I don't think we'll see Milner play unless we're rotating the side. Norwich away, first game of the Premier League season, back to normal, is not a time to rotate the side. I don't see why we can't play Fabinho. I think Naby Keita will play because I think he's supposed to be a first team player, sort of in that conversation anyway. So when he's fit and we're not selling him, he's going to play.
Yeah. And he's played reasonably well in pre-season.
He's looked sharp.
My only thing about Fabinho, and again, I don't know, I'd play him every time, but I'm not privy to what his pre-season has been like. I know he started late like all the Brazilians. Is he going to be... Alisson, you can forget that. He can play any time. But, Firmino and Fabinho, do we need to give them a lot more time?
Look at the three Brazilians. You play Alisson because he's your goal, because he's your goalie. Yeah. I don't know that you need to play Firmino because Jota's there, so you don't need to play him. But Fabinho's in that weird position of, you could say, I think we could all sit here and be dead disrespectful to Norwich and go, it's only Norwich. Milner's been fine, and they could actually run riot over the midfield because let's be honest, Milner is he was off. If he was anything, he was our fourth or fifth choice DM last season. I don't see how at 30, his mid-30s, he's all of a sudden stepped up to be better necessarily.
And these are going to be up for it with the crowd. Exactly. It's the thing is with the midfield, and I haven't actually. The third one I would pick is Thiago, because the midfield is an area of the pitch you can change. So I think Fabinho could probably play 90 because we've got a week off and he played. I don't know how long he played today. Did he play 90, Fabinho? I can't remember.
It's a good question.
So, but he's someone in the comments tell us, but he definitely played minimum like 60, 70 minutes. So the next step for him would be 90. And he's not coming off a Van Dijk injury, is he?
No.
So I think Fabinho can play. With Thiago and with Keita, if Keita's fit, he should be playing 90 anyway because he's that's where he's at. But with Thiago, why not play him for 55 minutes? Because he came on for 30 the other day. He's not had loads of football in the Euros. He's still fit. He's probably had a few weeks off.
But what we're saying, if that's the case, is that we don't have anyone who can play the defensive midfield role if Fabinho isn't playing. Yeah. Because if he hasn't had a full pre-season and he needs a bit more time, and I don't know whether he does or not, who are you playing? Yeah. Who's our next defensive midfield player?
I agree. Yeah, that's the thing. So someone. All of our options, our proper options, are either not ready or Milner.
Yeah.
And so it just depends on what we're. And I think getting the season off to a good start psychologically is too important.
Agreed.
That I think you can drop. You don't want to, and so I hope people understand my point on this. If you drop points subsequently, you've dropped points subsequently, but don't start the season off with anything less than a win. So get Fabinho in there.
That's my thought,
and again, this is my thing on Elliott. I think Elliott's been brilliant in pre-season. He's such an exciting talent. But I'm not gambling on Harvey Elliott in the first game of the season.
I think if Harvey Elliott plays, then that's a game changer for me. That means that he's a total member of that squad, and he's going to be playing a lot of games. He won't play the whole season because he's only 18, and I don't think Klopp is daft enough to play someone like that for 50 games a season.
And you can't when you've got senior players.
Yeah, so minutes as well. But if he does start, then that's massive.
No, that is, and that's the interesting debate about the Oxlade-Chamberlain thing. I think if Ox hadn't put in the shift that he did on Monday, I'd probably be sat here going, no, fine, go with Elliott. I just think that again, either way, that's a big gamble to not. I mean, look, if we put Milner in there, as much as we go Milner. Oh, rock hard Jimmy Milner. He's a fucking winger. He's a winger. He's a winger. He played his entire career as a winger until he came to us. I know he played a season at left back and he's done all this stuff, but we're effectively playing 6 wingers if we play Keita and Harvey Elliott and Milner in a team with that, which I think you do that against Burnley when they're going to show no ambition. But away at Carrow Road, 30,000 people baying for blood, all buzzing and on top because
we need control, don't we? So we need. The thing is with Ox, what I love about him is everything that I love about Ox is also potentially dangerous. So he gets the ball, drives it forward, sometimes runs into players at times. If he's doing that at Carrow Road and then the ball's getting took off with Norwich and pinging it around, we're losing possession, putting ourselves under pressure. It's kind of horses for
courses. Apparently they play a lot faster than they did last time they came up. There's a lot more pace in the side.
The psychology of it for me works like this, and this was a bit my opinion on how England used Foden in the summer. I think they made a mistake starting Phil Foden in the first game. I know he nearly scores in the early minutes of the first group game or whatever. But young players like that use that youthful enthusiasm off the bench. I think Oxlade-Chamberlain has done enough in pre-season, from being tried out as a false nine, fine, but like back in midfield has looked better. Back in midfield, back in his role,
where he made his name at Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. And he's the senior player, and I think he's shown enough to go. Okay, I would trust him in that. Harvey Elliott's on the bench,
definitely.
And then you're in a position where, actually, if Ox hasn't done it, or if Ox is doing it, but you want to keep that for next week, bring Elliott on for him, and you've actually got two lads. And because I don't think pre-season wise, I don't think there was much to split them in terms of in that playing.
Do you think Henderson and Thiago make the bench though? Because if they make the bench, they're coming on. I think that's where that changes, that doesn't it?
I think it's 9 subs, so I think they're probably one of them at least is probably on the bench anyway, if not both. And this is the conundrum of the Elliott stuff, is we might now not see Elliott for a month, and he might then, we're all buzzing with him, but he's played lots of minutes because Thiago and Henderson haven't been available for pre-season.
In terms of Thiago and Henderson, it doesn't matter if they're on the bench, does it? Because they do need game time. They might not need, or they might not be ready for 90 minutes, but they certainly need minutes when they can get the chance.
Yeah, it is interesting. But yeah, the other one then, because we're not going to find an answer to that one, I've still got to figure that out on Start 11. That'll be out later today or tomorrow morning. Check that out. Costa Tsimikas, Sam. And again, there's almost the big winner alongside Elliott maybe of pre-season, where I've come out of pre-season going, okay, sound. I had no sense of him as a footballer really from last year. He almost typified everything for us last year. Gets very limited pre-season, is a meme because James Milner swears at him in pre-season, gets COVID, has injuries, gets nowhere near the sides, and now but now he, the Greek Scouse, he's starting to become a bit of a cult figure. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how he does in proper matches for us now.
Yeah, for me, everything that we thought we were buying, Greek international, play Champions League football, it feels like we're now going to see. It feels like that's what we're getting, and we've seen in pre-season. I felt a bit sorry for him last year, for being honest. Of all the things that happened, he was one of the sort of casualties, weren't he, of it all? Like, Robertson has to play every minute because of X, Y, and Z going on. And football's a funny game. It's about timing, isn't it? All things happen. Like Elliott, we have 3 injuries this weekend, and Elliott suddenly's a starter, a 4th choice. So Tsimikas has got this opportunity now. He's fit. He looks fit and sharp. I think now he's got an opportunity to lay a marker down to say, no, I'm going to be first choice, but you can trust me now. Robbo, you can have your time off.
I look at, there'll be question marks over the defensive side, and I think that will either come with more games or it won't come because he hasn't got it.
Yeah,
we'll have to. But we're in a position now where we're going to have to find out. I think his crossings look brilliant. I think his engine looks good. He's fast. He's performing the Robbo role really well, and what I've seen so far, that to the point that that's all we've seen, so we can really judge on. And why not?
Our fullbacks are key to the way we play football, aren't they? And it's the attacking end of the game that's most crucial to us. And he's got that. He can get forward, he can beat a man, and he can cross the ball. Whether it's one the other day was first time cross, ball just came to him and straight across, brilliant. And I'm comfortable with him. And half the time I judge players by, do they make me nervous? Yeah. And he doesn't. Certainly not yet. He may make me nervous after a couple of games and I watch him. Yeah. But at the moment, I'm really quite comfortable with him coming in.
Yeah, he does. He certainly looks more Robbo than Alberto Moreno at this point. But again, it's the defensive side of things and we can't know until he's tested, and he won't be tested until he plays in the Premier League. And he's going to have to now. And the good thing is, of course, you've got Milner there, but I like the fact that, again, this is the point, we've got a proper left back there, and we've kept him. And all this talk like, just get rid of him because he's not played. No, as you say, you can see now why. No, I'm made up for him. We talked about it. I mentioned it actually to someone in the press box the other day about how the sliding doors moments in footy, to your point, Sam, and this could be. We just don't know. we suspect what we suspect from our prior knowledge is that Robbo will get fit and come straight back in again because he's amazing, because he's as good a left back as you can get in the world.
Yeah.
And he plays our left back role exactly the way it needs to be played.
But it's not right now. We're living in a world where this is not like a kid that we're giving a game to, or this is not like, we're not putting Milner back in there. There's a chance, and that's all, and that's exciting. That makes him, to your earlier point about like Thiago and that makes him like genuinely like a new signing, because he's a lad who's now going to play a bunch of games for us, and he might actually he could be better.
Isn't it refreshing that we've got an understudy who we bought to be an understudy can come in and take Robbo's place? Last season, we lost our centre-backs. We didn't have cover.
Yeah.
We didn't have proper cover. But we've got proper cover for left-back.
Yeah.
And he hasn't got the pressure of Robbo. I was thinking, because when you rotate it out and you've got a world-class player in front of you, you're under severe pressure to perform instantly, and that changes things. Whereas now, he knows he's got 3, maybe 4 games of football to actually get into it, rather than just, if I don't perform today, Robbo's back and he's brilliant.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's have a little look at the other games happening then. First week of the season, Brentford Arsenal kicks the season off on Friday, 8 o'clock kick-off there. I know the Arsenal fans are all terrified about that at this point.
I'm not surprised.
You would be, wouldn't you? I mean, there's a lot of tasty things in here, and again, it goes back to this. My knowledge, I don't know how relevant our knowledge of these teams is from last season is relevant to any of this. So there's a bit of degree to which you have to rewind the clock a full 12 months to get a little bit of a clearer picture, because again, you're going into this world where fans are back in stadia, etc., etc. Like Brentford Arsenal, you could easily see that being Brentford just doing something straight off the bat.
I mean, I know we're playing Norwich, but you really don't want to be playing newly promoted sides on the first day in their own pitch.
Yeah,
that's
never played Premier League as well. That's another thing. It's huge for them, isn't it?
Exactly. My hope is that I mean, there's a bit of like. Actually, not hope. The counter hope for this is that I hope Norwich are still a bit naive. I don't think they'll be less naive this time around. Brentford's naivety might play into Arsenal's hands a little bit, where they come up and they're just lost in the whole occasion of the situation. Which is why, again, I spoke to Jack Reeve of Talk Norwich City, which is on the channel, and there's an extra analysis on the redmentv.com right now about that. About Norwich have got something really going for them here. The champions. First game back, the first time they get to see their champions play, newly promoted, they've had this season. It was the reverse of us. We won the league and didn't get to celebrate. They got relegated, and then they just got they got the best possible experience in lockdown, because at least they got to watch the best telly show going, where they won every every
and
week.
They're coming up with knowledge of what it's like to play in the Premiership.
Man United host Leeds United, 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. I was speaking to a couple of Leeds fans yesterday, and they are very bullish about their chances in this one. Everyone's on Man United because of Jadon Sancho, and they've got all that talent.
Yet, have they?
The what?
I don't think they've announced.
No, I think it was. I think it'll be done. Whether he's available to play, right, is a good point. But
I mean, you remember us last season when we played Leeds in the first game of the season, and they were absolutely brilliant.
Exactly.
I think it was 4-3, wasn't it?
They're a team, I think, that will flourish under that environment. And again, Man United, I think Solskjaer has been dodging bullets by not having fans in the ground over the last year as well. So that's going to be a massive game.
They've got, was it up to 9 players unavailable for the first game or something like that, with injuries and international calls. So
Leicester host Wolves. No idea. Again, you'd imagine Leicester.
Don't know. Wolves might go through the floor. We just don't know, do we?
Chelsea Palace. You'd expect Chelsea to absolutely demolish Crystal Palace there, because they've
just played 120 minutes in Belfast last night. That plays a part.
Yeah, absolutely. Watford Villa. I mean, that'd be hilarious if Villa lost that. I've not just spent £100 million on their new forwards, but we'll see. Everton Southampton. Right, Southampton should be getting relegated this season. Everton, I've got Rafa in charge. Oh my God, yeah! Like it was something. There's a show we've got a separate sponsorship coming up. Hopefully on content today. I did some stuff involving Carragher and Neville and all that in the week. And Carragher said it like sitting back with the biggest bowl of popcorn in your life and just watching the Rafa thing at Everton develop is going to be fascinating. Burnley Brighton, I mean that'll be telling to see in terms of what they're.
Brighton are actually too good for Burnley, but His first game of the season.
Don't score enough goals, do they? Yeah.
Newcastle, West Ham, another one you'd imagine. Well, West Ham should win because West Ham were the team on the up last year. Newcastle are still a bit all over the place. They're not spending money again. Tottenham, Man City, I've mentioned this, it's the final game of the weekend, 4:30 kick-off on Sunday. Like, I looked at my eyes were immediately drawn to that because they are. Who are City playing? And is it possible for them to take points? At Tottenham.
At Tottenham.
Yeah, but...
A lot of fans in there.
But, like...
Harry Kane on
Harry
the
Kane
bench.
With half a kit on in it, like one of them 50-50
He doesn't know. Yeah, he's like he walks out in a plain tracksuit, and whichever kit he's got on underneath. Whatever kit he's got on is who he lines up for. I mean, the problem is, I think Spurs are done. I don't think Spurs are a top four team at this point. So it's possible, and you're right, the home advantage and all that stuff might play back.
New manager. So there might be a bit of oomph to start with.
I take a draw.
We don't know
Depends how he gets them to play.
We were going to say we don't know the
Just
system,
don't
do
know.
we?
Don't know.
Take a draw all day, and Jack Grealish skying one into the stands from in front of an open goal or something. That'd do for me there. Yes, right. I mentioned I've done the opposition preview with Jack Reed from Talk Norwich. He's brilliant. His channel's really good as well. There was a live I did with him on the YouTube channel. It's there for you to check out about the match specifically. But if you want a bit more rounded knowledge about Norwich to see what we're getting into, then that show is streaming exclusively on the redmentv.com, which is our Liverpool streaming service. So get involved with that, of course. Right. Score predictions.
I think it'll be quite tight, and I think we probably will concede. So I'm going to go with 2-1 to us.
Okay, so
yeah, I think we'll do well. I think we'll win 3-1. I think they've got a back post header or tapping in them at some point in the game.
Pookie.
Yeah, but I'll go with 3-1.
Or Cantwell screamer from 40 yards.
Oh God, no, I'd like them to give us a game, just to make it sense, to give us a real test.
From what I've heard, they're tighter in the back now than they used to be.
But I'm more confident that I think I'm looking forward to seeing us play against low block sides, which I don't think they are, but I think they will be a little bit more pragmatic than they were the last time we played them. But I still think they've got the ability to hit us in the pace of Pookie and all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of torn between the two, to be honest. I agree.
2.5.
2.5. Yeah, on the XG it'll be 2.5. 1. So I'll go with 3-1 because I think if we can ride out that first half.
I want it to be 3-1. I'm just thinking it might be 2.
I think that first half an hour is going to be key, and I think it's going to be raucous and it's going to be all kinds of stuff, and it's how we react to being in that environment as well, because we've had some positive environments in terms of 240k crowds at Anfield. But having 30,000 people shouting against you is something we haven't experienced, and I think that's going to take a little bit of time. They're going to come at just if they're going to come and throw some punches, how do we handle them? And if we handle them, can we go back to doing what we did in the title-winning season? No fuss, no stress. We're going to take the ball off you. We're going to keep the ball, and we're going to build, and we're going to build, and we're going to build.
Mo's going to score.
And Mo's going to score.
I'm Manic. I'm backing both to this weekend.
Absolutely, and Jota.
Oh yeah, all three.
3-1.
So we all think Jota's playing. Yeah,
why not? Right, yes, I will be doing the starting 11 prediction on the YouTube channel, so do check that out. Do check out the stuff with Jack Reeve as well in terms of the Oppo preview. Do download the Ultimate Fan app. I just have a little look around and say it's completely free to play. You just create an account, download the app, log in, and again, if you're a Redmen Picks user from last season, then you can use the same account on that. Some big prizes, and you have the chance to win and earn beer and all that kind of stuff. Get involved, basically. Check out the terms and conditions, of course, make sure that you click the link to download it specifically from there. But that's boss. Thank you, gents. It's been a pleasure. Cannot wait. We're going to be back on the watch along. Isn't it? It's so good to be back. Watch along coming for the game at the weekend. Hope to see you there for that. And up the Reds, brand new season, exciting. Everyone, our brand new book has landed. Hendo, 10 Years a Red, premium collector's edition, the definitive Jordan Henderson collection in A4 size, 200 pages, full colour, incredible insight, in-depth knowledge, and the stories of his rise from a young boy in Sunderland all the way through their academy to the Premier League. taking the captain's armband, becoming the captain, and leading Liverpool to be champions of everything and beyond as well. It's got his greatest moments season on season, some incredible, unique, phenomenal custom artwork from some of the best Liverpool artists on the scene, incredible high definition photos of his best moments as well. It is an incredible Jordan Henderson collection, and it fits right in your hands just about. It is a behemoth of a book. It is incredible, and it is available right now. You can get it, and you can learn more about the Liverpool skipper from the people who are closest to him on that journey: friends, family, coaches, players and managers. Yes, it is Hendo 10 Years of Red, and it is available right now on redmenmerch.com. Get involved.